Who goes there? Thou hast entered the domain of the wise and ancient Graithmere, guardian dragon of the... Ah, my small friend, you return. Welcome. I see you found the main entrance this time. No need to drop in again. But what brings you here? I hadn't expected to see you again. Was I simply too charming to resist returning? Well, aren't you the thoughtful little one? I appreciate the gratitude, but I assure you, you do not owe me anything. Still, the visit is appreciated. I get so few visitors, aside from the caretaker, of course. If I knew you were coming, I would have brought you something. I had just returned from a hunt. Good weather for it today. Ah, almost makes me feel young again, soaring over the lush forest, feeling the wind on my face, locating a clearing and swooping down on a lone stag. Oh, but I will spare you details. I know some small folk are a little sensitive to such things. I was swift and clean, though, I assure you, and I shall not need to hunt again for a little while, as you can see. I ate well. That stag roasted up a treat. Delicious. Well, of course, what did you think Dragonfire was for? I suspect you small folk learned to, what's the word, barbecue, by seeing us roast our kills. I'm sure you learned plenty more from us too, though it has been a long time since anyone came seeking my wisdom. The locals, well, they don't fear me as such, not like people did in the old days. But they probably still think it unwise to disturb me. Let sleeping dragons lie, or however the saying goes. Yes, forgive my theatrics when you first entered. Just a little fun. If people find me intimidating anyway, then I may as well add some gravitas to it. Dost thou seek the ancient wisdom of the great Graithmere? Speak now or be gone, mortal. The caretaker tells me of the goings-on in town, of course, and I do sometimes encounter other beings when out hunting, who are less fearful of me. There's a wolver, a wolfman, that is, who lives in the forest. He's sort of a guardian, too. We're on good terms, though I try to avoid hunting from his patch, so I don't see him often. And if I fly down to the sea to bathe, I sometimes encounter merrows, merfolk you might call them. Well, of course I don't bathe in the spring. I drink that water. When you fell in, I had to fish you out quickly before you contaminated it too much. But no, I think most smaller beings avoid a dragon my size purely on instinct. I suppose it's good to have peace and quiet. I wouldn't want everyone clamoring for my attention whenever they see me. But sometimes a little company is good to have too. Well, dragons my age don't exactly get together often. Well, you see, dragons never stop growing. It slows as we reach maturity, but it never stops completely. I am centuries old now, and so I have become what the youngers call an elder dragon. Those of us that have lived as long as I have and grown as large as I have, we are on a different scale, you might say, and we end up keeping rather large territories so that we don't compete for food and space. And so I suppose we become a little more isolated from one another because of that. There are times we convene these days, a council of sorts, but those are formal occasions, not so much for socializing. And truth be told, I find some of those other elders rather stuffy and old-fashioned. Family? Well, I did. It has been a long time. Not all dragons survive to become elders. I am a rarity. I know I must have kin out there somewhere. I sired and raised young with my mate when she was alive, but I cannot say for sure how many descendants I have, nor where they will have ended up in life. It was our nature to move on from our parental lands once mature, find territory of our own. My sons and daughters sought their own paths. I sought them out when they found their own mates and when their own children were hatched, but, well, time marches on, generations too. Things changed when our numbers dwindled, and some formed clans for safety in numbers, hiding in the far-off lands, mountains and islands far from the eyes of man. But part of being an elder is to be tied to a place, so I remained here. I am bound to the spring, you might say. I do love this land, its forests, its shores, and though the towns have grown, there is still wilderness and natural beauty, but yes, sometimes it is lonely. I suppose it would be nice to know how my kin are faring, though I don't know how I'd go about finding them, or how they might react to me. Imagine meeting your ancestor from 12 generations ago. Would they still feel like family? Would you call them 10 times great-grandfather? I know more young dragons live in the town above now, though none have yet ventured to my den. But at least it is a positive aspect of the changing times, knowing dragons can live among other races in relative peace. When I was young, it was a less harmonious time. People often fear what they don't understand, you see, and in turn they seek to destroy what they fear. Many still feel that way, even if they don't say it outright, but I am glad that general aggression has reduced at least. No more human soldiers out to slay the beast. No more orcish headhunters or giants out to test their strength. No more farmers hiring mercenaries because a few sheep have been eaten. Well, I may have burned a few battlements in my time, maybe a handful of cottages, roasted a few knights, all in self-defense, of course, or perhaps retaliation occasionally. I could be a bit of a hothead, admittedly, or hot-breathed, you might say. But, well, it was all rather a long time ago. Things are different now, as I said, and I've mellowed too since then. I much prefer the more peaceful times of today, rest assured. My days of burning are far behind me. At least so long as I have no reason to. I want to set a good example for the youngers, after all. Live and let live, carry the goodwill forward, and such. I have a simple arrangement with the land folk these days. Leave their livestock alone and take only what I need from the forest. I get somewhere to live and even a little housekeeping, and everyone is happy, or at least willing to go along with it rather than sending some sword-swinging maniac my way. Of course, there were also those who respected dragons back in the day. Among the humans, the Fae, and the beast folk alike. It's why I do not hold lingering resentment towards small folk. Why I understand that there are those of you with compassion for others and who recognize the value of life around them. As I said earlier, there were those who would seek out ancient dragons such as myself for our wisdom and experience. They would come for guidance, healing, and even blessings. Although there are no longer those who seek us out to slay, there are, alas, also fewer who seek us out for guidance. In these modern times, perhaps we are a little out of touch. I don't think people believe in the power of the spring anymore either. Anyway, with all that said, I appreciate you coming back. Thank you for listening to this old dragon ramble on. Oh, you brought something for me? Blankets? Oh, these are towels. Ha ha ha, now I can have one ready the next time someone makes a splash, or at least if you happen to fall in the drink again. Perhaps blankets would have been more fitting for today, though. I feel rather tired after all that conversation, and eating a big meal tends to make me drowsy too. Maybe you'd like to join me for a little doze? Come then, settle against me. No need to lay on this cold stone floor when you have a warm dragon. No trouble, honestly. It's nice. Reminds me of, well, times long past, let's just say. And I believe you found my underbelly comfortable enough last time. Oh, I'm used to it, and the scales on my back have grown thick and hardy with age. These dry leaves are all I need. Up you come then. There we go. Now isn't that better? Just rest here with me a little while. And perhaps you can tell me stories of your own when we wake. Would it be all right if I rest my paw on you? Thank you. There, no sliding off while we snooze now. This reminds me of times long past. Oh, think nothing of it. Just an old dragon reminiscing. An old dragon who is rather tired now. Sleep well, little one.